After the Blues tasted defeat last time out, Saturday will be a real test of Town's bounce back ability in the Marcus Harness Derby. This is the Blue Monday podcast. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, discussing Ipswich Town up or down since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you're listening to the Prematch show, brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound Pub in Ipswich. We're available every week on YouTube video and podcast audio, and tonight we are live and we want to hear from you. There is a lot of chatter already, which we're loving, so let's continue the debate. Let's hear your predictions, your insights, your thoughts out of the big one. Joining me to discuss it, Seb Brown. Are you getting nervous yet, Seb?
No, no. Be confident. Be confident. Be happy. Enjoy it. You know, we've beaten them before. I think maybe we'll beat them again. Yeah, no. Let's be positive. You know, we've got a lot to be happy about, a lot to be positive about, and I'm, as always, going to be the Channon Tating to your Jonah Hill. I'll be the positive, happy one, full of optimism until maybe 5 p.m. tomorrow night.
And I guess full disclosure as well. So do let us know in the comments. I'm on a new microphone. Seb's on a different laptop. So hopefully no chaos ensues tonight in terms of technical glitches. But if you hear weird noises and gremlins, do let us know. But as I said, we are live, so we want to hear from you. Hello to everyone who's got involved so far. Evening to Lee, Charlie D. Beaten this week, Charlie. You're usually first off the blocks when it comes to an good evening chat. But great to see you as always. Good day to Michael in Brisbane. He's calling Saturday, Seb, a loose game or a not loose game or a non-loose game. We'll talk more about that shortly. Lots of interesting replies to that, which I'll keep to the folks in the chat. Who else is with us? Gary's with us. Lee wants Selena on loan. Michael's going for GL and love the auctioning that's going on, the hypothetical loan deals. Robert, good to have you with us. Charlie D's worried about injuries. We will talk about that. Evening to FPL Tractor, great to have you with us. Andreas, great to have you with us as well. Thank you for the retweets earlier. Evening to Ben. Evening to Sully, our mate in New York. Hope you're doing well. Flim Flam, great to have you with us as well. Mullet's here, everyone. Crystal Audio, chaps. That is what we want. Evening to Jules. And here we go. Seb's on a different laptop. Does he have a high chair? I don't know what that means.
Am I low down in the picture?
A little bit. That's fine. Just tilt the lid shut a little bit. Evening to Kirk. That's what we want. MW, lovely stuff. Great to have you all with us, and we want to hear from you throughout. Get your comments in, get your thoughts in. We've got the usual forensic review of Portsmouth, which I guess is going to glean as much hope as our assessment of Plymouth did last week, Seb, because there's not a huge amount of compelling information to give us some possible weaknesses.
Be positive.
It's got some stuff in there, but worth mentioning. Obviously, we'll talk about Plymouth a little bit as it pertains to the game on Saturday. ITFC Women, just very briefly, 7-0 victors last time out in the FA Women's National League Cup, determining round. Good to hear for a brace from Abby Lafayette, our sponsored player, Friends of Blue Monday sponsored player, so great to hear that. And 2 assists from Freya Godfrey's joined from Arsenal on that dual registration. They play Crawley Wasps, and I'm relying on your research, Seb. I wasn't aware of this. Crawley Wasps, bottom of the league and winless, so looking like positive, hopeful.
They were quite good last year, weren't they? Didn't they finish top 6? Was it
possibly?
Top 5, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I think when I had a quick look at it, they did okay last year.
They were a tough team last season, so we'll be keeping fingers crossed that the wins in the league continue for ITFC Women, and good to see them in essentially the League Cup EFL Trophy hybrid that they have in the Women's National League. So all the best for them for Sunday. Do get down to the AGL Arena. I think your opportunity to buy tickets in advance is now closed, but you can buy tickets on the turnstile, and I shall be there standing in the wind of Felixstowe. So hopefully see plenty of you there with us. Let's jump straight into Pompey. Said worth mentioning as well. I'm going to tease this. We have I think we tweeted about this just before, a cameo appearance tonight from, I think it's fair to say, Seb, an Ipswich Town legend.
Yeah.
And Ray Crawford. So we'll be putting, we've got a little mini interview with a guy with feet in both camps, as it were, Ray Crawford, Ipswich Town's record all-time goal scorer. Dave Diamond had a quick chat with him earlier. We'll put that out as a mini kind of episode after this, but we've got kind of a few choice thoughts from Ray ahead of the big one tomorrow, and he's very excited for it as well. But Seb, that's enough from me. Tell us where Pompey find themselves in ahead of kickoff on Saturday.
Well, as things stand before tomorrow's game, they're the only remaining unbeaten side in the league. Obviously, we lost that record sadly last week to on Sky TV, as I guess we should have known, away to Plymouth. So they are the only unbeaten side left. They're coming to us in third position, so they're level on points with us, 21 points. But they have that crucial, or maybe not so crucial, game in hand off. They didn't play during the international break. Played 9, won 6, drawn 3, lost none, scored 19 goals, averaging over 2 goals per game. Conceded 8. I think they've kept 4 clean sheets or so far this season. Joint second top scorers in the league with us. So, they are scoring a lot of goals, but equally, so are we. What was that? Bring my thing down slightly more. Okay. Hopefully that'll be the end of the shenanigans now with the camera and the laptop malarkey. Away results, 3 wins, Burton, Port Vale and Cheltenham, and they drew, it was at the opening day, 3-3, I think it was, wasn't it, with Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. Yes. So, yeah, that was the opening day, wasn't it, that 3-3 draw. Second behind us in the away form table. And you found this stat, didn't you? Apparently we've only beaten them once at Portman Road since the infamous 3-0 2003 Good Friday, wasn't it? And they were singing, we're going, was it up top of the league with Harry and Jim? Yeah. The Pablo twist and turns and firing into the roof of the net as we were trying to gate crash the playoffs that season. So it's not the best of records against them recently. But as always, I'll be positive and optimistic about tomorrow.
Yeah, so 1 home win in 7 attempts.
When was that?
And the win, this is a test for those of you in the chat. And anyone listening subsequently, if you can, I'll come back to it. If you can name at least the season when we beat them, and the result I will give bonus points to. But neither Seb or I, this is it. These are the seasons that we've kind of pushed out of our brains to make space for new information. But 7 attempts there, Seb, with that 1 win. How many of those 7 were FA Cup ties?
We played under Lambert, didn't we, that we lost in the closed doors COVID season. So that's 1. Liam Trotter got sent off
Mark Halsey.
In 1. That's 2. Any more?
Yeah,
Mick, under Mick, we played Pierre Malachek and Luke Hyan was captain, I think, and we lost the replay. So that's 3. I can't remember the 4th one.
I think we played them 2 after the Liam Trotter situation. We played them a season later, I think. Was it? I'm trying to remember. It was Carnu, I think, might have scored. I don't know if that was which one that was. But yeah, a lot of FA Cup ties against Portsmouth as well. But yeah, not a great home record. Let's talk about last season. I remember is it too early to use a swear word? No, shithousery game of Portman Road. But a lot of us will remember the away game, won't they?
Yeah, so they finished 10th last season on 73 points. They only finished 3 points ahead of us, and they missed out on the playoffs by 10 points. So they never got going for the second half of the season to kind of gate crash that top 6. The game we remember fondly is that 4-0 victory down at Fratton Park in October. It was that kind of inconsistent phase, wasn't it, where we were hoping that we were going to start kicking off on a run under Paul Cook. It was goals from Bond, Chaplin with a really nicely kind of swept home finish. I remember that one. Aluko and Burns, we tore them to pieces. Burns got one-on-one so many times with his pace against their left-sided centre-back. I can't remember who it was, and I remember he just tore him a new one time after time. And like you said, the March game, which was, S-housery, central with them going down all the time, and the stuff on the touchline between Dominic Thompson and Cowley when he's holding onto the ball. And then we scored, didn't we? We scored that goal right at the death. Wolfenden heads it down and Bond puts it in, but he's offside. And yeah, that was a really, really frustrating one. And some of the stats we're about to discuss would probably suggest that prepare a little bit more for the same kind of S-housery tomorrow. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, indeed, So. Just dipping back into the comments, we've got some predictions, which is great. We'll come back to those shortly. Evening to Paul. Good evening from almost certainly your oldest viewer. Can't do that, Paul, and not give us a number. So we welcome young and old. But Paul, if you want to let us know, if you don't mind, I know it's your prerogative, obviously, not to tell us, but keen to know, are you older or younger than Ray Crawford is what I want to know. Honestly, Seb, spring chicken, Ray Crawford, honestly, so great to hear from him later on, even into 80s with us as well. And as Jules says, absolute legend, Ray Crawford is. FPL Tractor saying very similar to that. So, we'll hear from him shortly. Let's bring things more up to date in terms of Pompey. And this kind of, we talked about it last week, didn't we, in respect to Plymouth?
Yeah, it was
the last time out for them in the league was this 2-2 draw at Fratton Park. It was an interesting one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and they so nearly lost that unbeaten run. It was the 2-2 that we discussed last week on the Plymouth show. They go 1-0 up through Josh Karoma, really, really nicely taken goal.
Josh Karoma. If that's not the chant, by the way, big missed opportunity.
Disappointed. Okay. Then they go 2-1 down. Ennis and an own goal from Sean Raggett puts Plymouth in control. Plymouth should go 3-1 up, like we discussed last week, but they don't take it. And then in the last minute, I think it's the 94th minute, there's lining up for a long throw, some shenanigans, which sees a Plymouth player sent off. The throw is taken short to Morrell. He swings the ball in, and this time Raggett heads in the correct end to equalise with the 2-2 draw. So they were very close to losing that unbeaten record, but they just about hang on to stay the only team unbeaten in the league.
We mentioned him a few times, the boss, Danny Cowley. I mean, there's kind of quite a few sliding doors moments where certainly Danny Cowley could have been Ipswich manager.
Well, it was him or Cook, wasn't it? Yeah, after Lambert went, that kind of February, March time, it was either going to be the Cowleys or it was going to be Cook. And I guess, some of us had different ideas on who we would have preferred. But he went to Pompey. Would you prefer Cowley, would you?
I think I'm on record of saying that at the time.
But even with, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but at the time, Paul Cook was a championship
either of them
level.
are good options at this level, aren't they? Let's be honest. Yeah.
Okay, I was always in the Paul Cook camp, given, what he'd done previously. But like we say, hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Northerner, innit? Northern things.
Brilliant. So he's been there since March 2021, managed 78 games, won 36, drawn 18, lost 24, which is 1.62 points per game. So, perhaps maybe not amazing, considering some of the players I guess he's got at his disposal. He's best known for his time at Lincoln and, that painful memories of that FA Cup dark night when we lose him under Mick in early 2017, wasn't it? Pick the bones out of that Mick McCarthy from Terry Butcher and all that kind of shenanigans. He had a brief spell at Huddersfield. He kind of got a move to the Championship, but it never really worked out there. He was only there for 40 games or so. Always assisted by his brother Nicky. And they've been back this summer, and I guess the objectives for this summer for this year is very, very much promotion for them. Certainly top six, definitely.
And probably an outdated, what's the word I'm looking for? A kind of assumption about their playing style is their long ball. I think it's probably more nuanced than that, but certainly we've mentioned some of the dark arts away from home. We know what to expect from Danny Cowley's teams on the road. At home, Pompey are quite formidable, as you'd expect, in front of that quite partisan crowd, obviously. But away from home, we should have no surprise on Saturday, should we? Danny Cowley has also been starting on the mind games the last few days, talking about our signings, signing the best players in League One and the division above.
Yeah.
Admittedly, we've spent a little bit of money, but not as much as Pompey.
There's this weird rivalry that kind of started in the 19 arrivals
bitchiness, isn't it?
Season.
Is it rivalry or bitchiness?
I don't know. They just seem to have a bit of an issue with this, saying about the whole money bags thing. And, we all operate to the salary management cap protocol, so you can't go over that. And, this year, the Flynn Downs transfer alone probably brought in enough fees to cover most of our outgoing. So it's a weird thing that's cropped up. Obviously, we had the issue with Michael Jacobs last year where, we agree a fee and the medical is done. In the end, we change our mind and sell Carl Edwards, which I guess, wasn't maybe our finest hour and could create some tension between the two clubs. But yeah, this money bags thing. And then I've seen Cowley's come out today and he's saying, if you finish above Ipswich, you're pretty much going to be going up, and we're all expecting them to win the league, and they're signing our best players, and we didn't want Marcus Harness to go. So yeah, he started with that already, but I guess we'll see tomorrow how he's going to line up and how he's going to approach the game. But the mind games have started early, haven't they?
And where's the tipping point where we stop talking about summer arrivals? It's not this week, but let's talk about the summer arrivals. There's a point where we probably stop talking about it, don't we? And whilst they haven't spent big in terms of fees, there are probably some sizable wages being paid here for free transfers, and there are some Premier League loanees who will have also required fees as well. Obviously, they've reinvested the Harness money we know on Colby Bishop. But talk us through some. I mean, there's a lot of ins coming in, isn't there?
Some experience here. So 12 arrivals, haven't spent any fees. So it's a mixture of free transfers and loans. They have 5 loans in total. David, you are an absolute legend. We salute you. Looking forward to buying you a drink in the ground as soon as you can get over for a game. We always salute you. What a top man. But yeah, 12 arrivals. So a load of experiences come in. So Marlon Pack's come in from Cardiff. Michael Morinson will be the centre back tomorrow from Reading. They had hundreds, probably championship games between the two of them. Joe Rafferty's come in from right back from Preston. Tom Lowry, a central midfielder
like
from Crewe.
him.
Yeah, good player, isn't he? He's a doubt for tomorrow. We'll come on to their likely team, but he's a bit of a doubt with an injury concern. Zach Swanson, a right back on loan from Arsenal. Colby Bishop is the one that we know too well from our trips up to the Wham Stadium in years gone past. Obviously, it was the harness sale that allowed them to free up the cash to go and make that purchase. Josh Koroma, we've spoken about.
Sing song.
What is it?
Josh Koroma, like my Sharona.
Right. I'll leave the singing to the likes of you and Ben.
Like,
we're just musicians amongst us.
We're picking up where Craig and Dave and that Aztec.
If you haven't listened to that, go and listen to that show. That was brilliant. There was plumbing tips. There was singing along.
Radiator
there was
keys.
abuse of mullet, which I'm always in favour of. All the
I've skipped through some of the chats asking for Mullet to post photos of his hairy arms and legs.
Yeah, no, make sure you go back. That was an excellent Tuesday, or when it was Tuesday night it was on, or Wednesday night. That was an excellent show. Yeah, really enjoyed that one. Josh Koroma, he's on loan from Huddersfield. He'll play kind of in the left-hand kind of channel. Owen Dale, very highly rated at Crewe. Do you remember it? He got a move to Blackpool. Not really worked out for him there, so he's come back down. He's a right winger. Dane Scarlett is one of the Premier League loanees that you've mentioned. 3 goals in 9 appearances so far this season. Played midweek for England, I think, or England under 20s, I think it was. He's one that will start up front, but has a free role to kind of go where he wants to go, pick up the ball, and kind of let Bishop hold the ball, do some of the dirty work, and he's got the quality. And then obviously Mr. Piggott, who won't feature tomorrow, has gone there. He scored a couple of goals, hasn't he? One in the league, was it a penalty, and one in the
couple of assists as well.
Yeah, so the Harry Kane of League One, I think he was referred to by Danny Cowley, wasn't he? So he won't feature tomorrow, but I guess it maybe not quite worked out for him as we thought it might do. Bit of a parallel to how it started for him this year, wasn't it? He's in the team at the start and then he doesn't score, and somebody else comes in and starts banging in goals, and he finds himself on the bench. But it's a long season. Hopefully, he'll get a bit more game time moving forward.
Not a huge amount of excitement on the outs, so it's quite good business actually. He's shipping out some, apart from harness, obviously shipping out some maybe peripheral players. Alec. Oh, what's he done there? What's the noise?
I've dropped my coaster.
Brilliant. This is going so well.
Nothing happened. I could have got away with it.
I know. I hear everything. Got headphones on, mate. Alex Bass to Sunderland's probably, I don't think he played too much because they're Bazunu, didn't they?
Yeah, they're the guy on loan from Man City, didn't they? The only one that kind of caught my eye was Aidan O'Brien. They only signed him in January last year from Sunderland and moved him on to Shrewsbury in the summer. So he was kind of a winger, wasn't he? Attacking kind of winger, attacking kind of left and right inside, a kind of inside forward, cutting in on his other foot. And yeah, for some reason they moved him on. Didn't think he was up to it, moved him on. And Sean Williams, an experienced central midfielder, I think he's 33, 34. He's moved down the leagues to Gillingham. So good business when you look at it. They've still got an experienced core with the likes of Pack and Morrison coming in, added some attacking flair and Premier League loanees to add the quality up front. And obviously, Colby Bishop, as we know, will guarantee you goals at this level.
Interesting question, FPL. We'll pick that up later on, like the coaster. Boom. Yeah, I mean, there is some Pack. We need to mention Pack's long throw threat. Obviously, it was a factor, albeit a dummy against Plymouth. But yeah, Michael Morrison, a player that's been around a bit. Lowry, highly rated. Bishop, we've talked about. Koroma, we know what he can do. Scarlett, scary quality. So, this is a good squad, isn't it? Talk to us about formations and how many of these incomings are regular starters now, Seb.
Well, it'll be a 4-4-2. That's pretty much the guarantee. They're organised. They're hard to beat. It'll be Joshua Griffiths will be the keeper. Now, they've had Rafferty out injured with, I think it was a hamstring for a couple of games. So what they've done is they've shifted their left back across to right back, Connor Ogilvie, but he's naturally a left-sided player. So I think Rafferty sounds like he's fit. He'll come back in at right back, which will then shift Connor Ogilvie back to the left-hand side. The two in the middle will be Michael Morrison and Sean Raggett, he of the own goal and the right goal last week against Plymouth, which means Clark Robertson, who's been playing in at left back, sort of slotting in, will drop to the bench for this one. So I think, it'll return to their more kind of familiar back four. Marlon Pack and Tom Lowry, if he's fit. If not, Joe Morrell will sit in the central midfield positions. Owen Dale down the right. Josh Koroma, he of the great goal against Plymouth, down the left. And up front, Colby Bishop as the focal point and doing some of the dirty work, holding the ball up, probably their biggest goal threat. And then Dane Scarlett will play kind of off him. So at times it might be more like a 4-4-1-1 because he'll drop deep. If you look at his heat map, he likes to drop deep, drop out wide, pick the ball up. A bit like McGoldrick did for us in the 4-4-2 playoff season. He wasn't really an out-and-out striker with Murphy. He would drop all over the attacking third to pick the ball up. And that's what Scarlett, I think, will do as well.
Yeah. we'll talk about style of play. So let's dip back to the comments. A lot of interesting chat, which is probably not for us, it's for everyone else. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, folks, on your Friday night in the chat. We'll leave you having that fun. Jules, Plymouth outplayed Pompey. They were bloody spawny, says Jules. We know about Plymouth now. Be interesting to see where the two of us stand after Saturday's game. Paul Westlake, evening to Paul. Sport one of our hoodies earlier, as you can see behind Seb, and I've got one as well, actually. You can't see the logo. We signed Ball as cover for Morsey's suspension. Hashtag it's coming. So
yeah, what's he on now? 3. Is he on 3?
We're the most booked team in the division.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
But I feel like half of them probably came at Sheffield Wednesday away. There was a phase where the ref would just give a booking for every single foul. But yeah, Morsey, I think he's on 3, isn't he?
Is he?
And it's 5 for a ban, isn't it? A 1-match ban, and the cut-off's probably nowhere. There is a cut-off at some point where it resets, but I'm guessing we're nowhere near that yet.
Yeah. Lee's mentioned we have a few on yellows, could do without them happening at the same time, especially with the injuries. We'll talk about the injuries shortly. As Paul Westlake here mentions, Davies and Morsey would be big losses right now, wouldn't they? So, we've chat about, here we go, Flim Flam. Davies has a bit of a hot temper. Is that right? Is that...
He got booked at Sheffield Wednesday away, didn't he? For I think he was either trying to hold on to the ball and ruffle up their player a little bit. So I mean, Cowley will be doing all the tricks under the sun. If the ball goes out for a throw anywhere near him, kicking the ball away, ignoring it in their ear all game. We just got to hope that we're better than that and we rise above it, which is what we didn't do in the game in March.
And as Adie's mentioned here as well, looking forward to the big game with a big crowd versus the pack out PR games. And I think someone further up has said only 17 odd tickets. Apologies, I can't spot the comment now.
That's going to be amazing. Yeah, that's going to be phenomenal because they'll bring a hell of a following. They must have 2,000 fans coming down, and they always create a good atmosphere. So that'll be excellent.
How do we fare in those kind of atmospheres, though, Seb?
We normally bottle it.
Yeah,
but it's different. Stop being negative.
Different
things are different.
Evening to Eric. Good to see you, Eric. Diagonal runs from Bishops on the So that's a really good segue into style of play, isn't it? Let's deal with that in terms of we've tried to dig out some stats, haven't we, in terms of passing style and all that kind of stuff. Do you want to talk us through those, Seb?
Yeah, well, when I was doing the research for this, I was kind of looking into it and thinking, normally when you look at the passing styles and the stats and the shots on target, etc., the kind of position for those stats normally correlates to the league position. So we are the best at possession, and we were top of the league till last weekend, etc. But all of their stats are kind of mid to maybe top third of the table. They appear to be overachieving based on the stats. I'm not doing them a disservice or saying that they're going to drop away or anything, but based on the statistics, the key statistics, they are kind of overachieving massively. I mean, you're looking at a kind of average of 50.3% possession, which is 14th in the league. That drops down further when they play away from home to 49.6, which is 8th in the league. 13 shots per match, 11th in the league. They just don't kind of scream as stats against one of the big boys, despite what their league position is. Away from home, 11.3 shots, which is 10th in the league. They are the best in the league for goals per game inside the penalty area, which is the third away, isn't it? And the 6-yard box, which is 5th away. So they are very dangerous within the box. They won't be scoring they might try shots from long range, but so far this season, they haven't scored from outside the box. So it's a side that will kind of get the ball into the box and look to make things happen. 72% pass accuracy, which is 11th in the league. So, again, these aren't numbers to make us kind of sit up in fear and make us nervous. They are kind of overachieving based on what the key statistics tell us so far.
But they are, so I accept that. And obviously the metrics that we have, I mean, the one metric that matters is the league table, right? Mm-hmm. As you say, though, I think what they've got is there's lots of, I missed a chess joke, and there is all kinds of fun happening.
Bishops move diagonally on chess.
Yeah, there you go. Checkered history, says Lee. Loving that. If you've got players similar to Harness and Chaplin, and we were very similar at the start of the season, we were creating lots of chances, but the XG of those chances wasn't great, but we were still converting them. And I think there's an element of that with Pompey. A lot of edge of the box type chances. You mentioned the goals from inside the area. I mean, that's where most goals are going to be scored, but they're very effective in the 6-yard box as well. Counter-attacking goals, set-piece goals. So I guess these don't matter as long as you're effective at scoring goals. And that's what they appear to be. They're good generally in a way in aerial duels. So this direct style of play. I don't think, let's not pretend that they're a passing team. Your stats bear that out, Seb. But this direct game, using Bishop as a focal point, brings in Koroma, brings in Scarlett, doesn't it? And it's working for them, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. I mean, he's the top scorer with 5 goals so far this season. There is one stat they are top of the league for. Can you take a guess what it might be?
There's no stats for time wasting, is there? Minutes.
No, but
minutes
it's
of the
almost,
ball off the field.
Yeah, no. Fouls given in favour of. They are top of the league for that. So yeah.
So fouls they've won.
Fouls they've won. Yeah, average 12.9 per game. Fouls given in their favour. And we are top of the offenders list, interestingly. I think it's just under 12 fouls against per game. So, yeah, expect some S-housery based on the stats because it's going to be coming, let's be honest.
Yeah, still enjoying these chest gags, guys. Keep them coming. Yep, apologies. That was my fault. It's too much. The brain just can't cope with it. I'm not a chess player. I can't think 4 moves ahead. So yeah, interesting thoughts there. I think we've set this up really nicely, Seb, in terms of strong squads, reinforcements throughout the summer, players on form, style of play, direct, utilising Bishop, bringing in Koroma, Scarlett, set pieces.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, 26% of their goals have come from set pieces. So they are a set piece threat. And they've got some decent options on the bench as well. If it's not working for them, you've got the likes of Ronan Curtis, who I think scored that long ranger against us in the monsoon conditions just before Christmas 2019 at Fratton Park, and Rico Hackett-Fairchild as well, who made a decent cameo appearance against Plymouth and looked quite lively. He's a bench option as well, so expect them to make changes if they need to because they have got some quality in reserve.
That's enough of our thoughts for the moment. Shall we check in with Portsmouth and Ipswich Town legend Ray Crawford, who had a few minutes with David Diamond earlier? This is a snippet. We'll put the full show out later on. Bear in mind the audio might be a little bit louder than Seb and I are, so stand by your volume switches on your TVs or your laptops or your mobile phones. We'll be back after this.
No one on our podcast needs an introduction to you, but just quickly, just delighted to say we've got Ray Crawford with me this evening. As you all know, Ipswich Town's record goal scorer, inaugural member of the Hall of Fame. I mean, I could keep going on, Ray, but lovely. Really appreciate you coming on. And as you said right at the start, this is quite a big weekend for you because you're very much, Pompey Town, Ipswich Town affiliation goes quite a way back with you, yeah?
Yeah, well, they gave me my first start, didn't they? That used to be the Div 1 or the Premiership as it is now. I mean, I played in that for one season, and before I came to Ipswich Town, I played with 6 or 7 international players.
Yeah.
Playing for Wales, England, Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
Fantastic to be brought up with them players.
And obviously yourself proudly representing your country as well. So, I mean, I know you're not coming up to the game. I know you can't come up, you can't come up to the game tomorrow. But how do you see it tomorrow? So it's second against third, virtually identical records, identical goals scored, identical goals against. Obviously, Pompey, Portsmouth have got that game in hand. Which obviously, if they win and heaven forbid don't avoid defeat tomorrow, will put them above us. How do you see it?
I personally think it's going to be a draw again. I think it'll be 1-1. Both teams will be going for it. But I just think that they don't like to get beat by one another.
No, I think it's fair to say that. I mean, are you? What's the sort of feeling there? I know, and he'll be doing the commentary tomorrow for your local radio, and Andy Moon, no doubt, will he? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the general feeling? I mean, the fans must be delighted with Portsmouth's start, yeah?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I speak to quite a few of them, and they're really up for it. And this weekend, I mean, you got the full quota of supporters coming up, so that just shows, they're behind the team.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, tomorrow Ipswich is one of these games. There's 3 games in October. Pack out Portman Road, so there's ticket packages on offer and trying to get the fans in. Not that they need to because they're getting fantastic support. But apparently, Ray, can you imagine it? I know you've played in front of, but 28,000 at Portman Road tomorrow. It's going to be good, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic atmosphere when you get that many behind you. The supporters, and you get that feeling, with the supporters, and you think well, I don't want to let them down. And no, I think it'd be a good game, really good open game. And I think both teams will be a bit worried about getting beat. That's the only thing I think about. They won't want to get beaten, either side. So it makes me think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, you see those games, don't you? Where no side wants to give any ground, no side wants to look. Obviously, no side wants to lose. So sometimes those games can be a bit cagey, can't they? I mean, obviously, Town coming off the back of their first defeat last week, which again, and like the week before at Sheffield Wednesday,
it's one that they should have won. They had 5 or 6 good chances.
Yeah,
and they didn't
did.
take them.
Yeah, Ray, I think
I tell you what, Ray.
I think we needed someone of your caliber up there. I think you'd have probably gobbled up at least a couple of those. But now I know, just quickly, just a plug. I know you're gonna be on Mark Murphy's Life's a Pitch tomorrow with Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I will be.
So no doubt we look forward to hearing you then. You'll be listening to the game on local radio tomorrow with Andy's commentary.
Yeah, I should be switched in there about 20 to 3 when he comes on, and listen to all the chit chat that's going on, and I should make a few phone calls in between to friends up there that will probably be in the ground anyway. So
absolutely,
that'd be good. That'd be really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Give us a score prediction for tomorrow.
1-1.
1-1. Tight game. Ray, it's been an absolute pleasure as usual. Keep well, my friend, and let's hope Town. 1-1. Let's hope Town can just sneak in. I'd say a 2-1 Town win. Odd goal in 3. That'll do.
Of course, you've got to.
all the best, Ray. Thanks very much, my friend.
Cheers, the best, mate.
Ray Crawford's going 1-1, Seb. 86 years of age, Ray Crawford.
Somebody in the comments mentioned they think he can still do a job tomorrow, and I think I agree with that. Yeah, get him some boots and get him up front.
Yeah, indeed. What a legend. We need to thank Dave Diamond as well. There's a full-length interview we did with Ray Crawford a few years back on the pod. We'll link it. We'll maybe put it up on YouTube, up in the top right-hand corner later on. We'll also put a slightly extended version of that chat between Dave and Ray later on. But yeah, he's right, Seb, in terms of there's this fear factor, isn't there, about getting beat, as he said there. Do you see that being a prospect tomorrow, or at this stage in the season, being quite early days still, is it about 3 points?
It's not a must win, but I don't think. I think if you afford to lose it, given the results against Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth, then we're all going to have these kind of feelings of doubt that we can't pick up points against the big boys. I think tomorrow, we say it quite often in games, but I think tomorrow the first game is absolutely crucial. If we get that first goal and it's relatively early, they will have to come out and try and play us. If they score first, I would fear that the housery would start and all of the shenanigans would start, and we might start to struggle to break them down. So the first goal is absolutely crucial tomorrow. I
agree with that. Good to see Dave is with us in the chat tonight. Cheers for that, Dave. Really appreciate that, and what a great guy to speak to as well. So we'll, as I mentioned, plenty more from us with Ray Crawford, and he's on Life's a Pitch as well for those of you who drive in and listen to that pre-match, whether you're going to the game or not as well. So tune in for that as well. Let's talk about us, Seb. I mean, the last couple of weeks seemingly feel like they've been punctuated by injuries. Obviously, Hadmay's now out for possibly a couple of weeks with a broken bone in his foot.
No, more than that, a couple of months, they reckon.
Sorry, did I say a couple of weeks? A couple of months. That's actually what I meant. Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks is what Google WebMD kind of my quick research did. So I did mean months, not weeks. So yeah, well, interesting thoughts in the chat. Get your thoughts in on lines up there. Someone mentioned a Christmas tree formation. I'm thinking it'll be the first choice. Wes Burns back in, and it picks itself, doesn't it? Do you change much?
I think you've got to find a way to keep Jackson in there. Obviously, you can't play him in that right kind of sided role because Wes Burns will come straight back in there. I think, well, it's harsh though because Harness and Chapman are both playing against their old club, aren't they? So you don't really want to take one of those two out of it. But if you don't, how else are you going to get Jackson in there? Because he can't really play the 9. So it's a conundrum. I just think Jackson, given his pace and the problems he's caused in the last couple of games against when he's running one-on-one against players, that he might really kind of, he doesn't deserve to be dropped, but it's a conundrum where you fit him in. Burns comes back in without a shadow of the doubt. I guess there's some question marks over Edmondson. Keogh is waiting in the wings. If Keogh comes in, he probably has to play central of the three, which means that Wolfenden has to shift over to the left-hand side. So are we finally going to see Keogh make his debut? Or is Fridge going to continue and McKenna's going to give him a chance to kind of play his way back into his top form? Midfield 2, I think, will be Evans and Morsey. I know people are saying Ball should come in, but at home, when you're going to have more of the ball, more possession, I think Evans' range of passing is a greater weapon at home. Number 10, Chapman will certainly be one of them. Ladapo will lead the line, I think, and then it's a case of either Harness or Jackson for that other role.
It's a real shame there's no Burgess tomorrow, isn't there? Because those aerial battles with Bishop, he'd be ideal for that. And therefore, if it's a toss-up between Keogh and Edmondson, does Edmondson get the nod because they think he's got a little bit more stature?
Do you think he has? I think Keogh's pretty decent in the air. Yeah, Edmondson's never seems to be the tallest. I mean, I got that completely wrong, but he never seems to be the tallest of players. So I think if you wanted that bit of experience and someone with a bit of nous against the kind of, back to goal striker like Bishop can play as, then maybe Keogh is the one to go for. But I guess if Keogh doesn't come in tomorrow, this is a chance. If he wants to get Keogh in the side, this is the time to do it, isn't it? Because, Edmondson was fine at Sheffield Wednesday, had that brain fart last week when he passes the ball straight to Whittaker for the second goal. So if you want to get Keogh in, this is the time to do it. It just means a bit of a rearrange, I guess, with Wolfenden becoming the left-sided player, because Keogh won't have the engine to get up and down in support of Leif Davis, will he?
I'd be sticking Keogh in at Cambridge, if anything, not rather than tomorrow.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, up against Ironside. That makes sense, yeah, against Ironside.
I don't think Jackson features in the starting lineup tomorrow either.
He doesn't play that many home games, does he?
No.
He's more of an away kind of player. But
it'll be Harness, Chaplin and Ladapo for me.
Chaplin's a nail on. Ladapo, I think, after scoring, is a nailed on. Harness wasn't great when he came on against Sheffield Wednesday. Wasn't great last week either. But it's his home, it's his old side. So yeah, I can totally understand why you get the nod. And then I guess we'll see the finishers, the likes of Edwards and Edwards and Jackson and John Jules off the bench if it's not going to play.
Thoughts on Gary's suggestion here, Seb?
Well, it's more of a back four this season anyway, isn't it? It's pretty much, Danassi on the right, still getting advanced. Burns kind of plays almost as an out-and-out winger. So was that a three in midfield of Evans, Ball and Morsey in that formation, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to sacrifice one of the 10s to do that, which I guess is still a major, major loss to the side, given they're both our top scorers and they're both facing their old side. So for me, I would still keep Ball as the bench central midfield option. I would just maybe like to see, if we get ourselves in a commanding position like we did against Sheffield Wednesday, like we did against Plymouth, I might just like to see him come on, sit in central midfield and just keep the ball and, see the game out rather than him not featuring, and we kind of keep making attacking subs trying to go for it. Yeah,
we've got some thoughts here. Sully kind of agreeing with you about Harness. His form has dropped off a little bit, but
if it wasn't Pompey,
if
it wasn't Pompey, if it was Cambridge first, I would think he'll be on the bench and somebody else will get a go. It's just the fact it's his old side. He's going to want to make a point, isn't he?
Mullet going for Keogh to do his Tony Mogger Mowbray impression. I might flag up your upside against Scarlett. Perhaps a bit of nous, there
That's
as well.
What you want, isn't it? The experience and the nous and the the things that the likes of Edmondson and Wolfenden don't have because they haven't played 300 odd games in the Championship. He brings different qualities which could be useful against kind of young attacking Premier League talent.
Chris agrees with me that Keogh potentially plays Tuesday, but Keogh was brought in for emergency cover and what he can offer in training. But Lee says Keogh come to play. So we shall see along with the rest. It'll be interesting. I think Seb and I have given our views on that one. Keep your thoughts coming in the chat. We also want your predictions. That's where we're going after this. But let's do a few bits and pieces of housekeeping. As always, we are brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound. If you're looking for a pre-match venue for Saturday, you can do a lot worse. In fact, probably the best place to go is the Greyhound. Join us in the out in the pub. I guess it's the car park now, isn't it? Kind of with all the booths and the outdoor bar, and always a great buzz outside. Despite what I think it was Paul said, we're not expecting an appearance from Russell Osman, but you might expect an appearance from David Diamond. So if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what will. As always, if you're not going to the game, and even if you are, why not join our Telegram group and get involved in our matchday group and all the other various chats that we've got. I'm very much enjoying that. Free for a couple of weeks and then a subscription after that. And if you do join up via a paid subscription, Seb, you get discounted tickets for our live event, which is coming up in just over a month's time. Are you excited for Blue Monday live at Portman Road.
I am very much looking forward to it. Yeah, after the Cheltenham game, so the 12th of November, the Saturday, the 12th of November, starts at 8, drinks at 7, starts at 8. Don't be late.
Doors at 7:30. For the avoidance of doubt, legally, I have to say, if you try to get in before 7:30, you'll be turned away, I'm afraid. But 7:30 for 8. Yeah,
really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great night. As many of us can get there as available. It's going to be brilliant. There's a couple of surprises to come on the night, I'm sure. And yeah, really, really, really looking forward to it.
I'm hoping to announce a couple of special guests. The first of our special guests, hopefully, maybe not this weekend, maybe next. No surprises really who's going to be involved. But yeah, the negotiations continue there. If you want to get, I noticed the chat earlier was about donations. And again, we need to thank David for the super chat. Obviously, folk can do that. You can also do it via our Ko-fi page or coffee page on our website, Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk for all the details and everything, frankly, including tickets, website to buy for the live event, Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk. You can also buy merch and get something back. This is a Blue Monday hoodie. There you go. Seb's got one behind him as well. So do get involved in that. If you want some free stuff, if you're wary about the winter and you need hoodies and hats and all that kind of stuff, we've got you covered, and hopefully we do it with a little bit of style.
They are lovely and warm. Can highly recommend them.
Yep. Flagship show back on Sunday live as always 8 p.m. I think with Ben in the host chair. We'll confirm that on the day. And as always, if you've enjoyed watching this on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up, do subscribe. It helps nudge us up the algorithm with all the other football related content out there, and it also makes us feel good about ourselves as well, which I'm sure you will want to do. And if you're listening on the podcast, do give us a review. We love reading the reviews. Had a couple of extra ones that we've enjoyed the last week or so. So yeah, do get involved that way. I think that's all the housekeeping said. Have I missed anything?
No, effortless, like a well-tuned machine. That, yeah, fair play to you.
Almost like it's scripted, isn't it? That bit. Right, let's do some predictions. I don't know why the intro there speeds up and then I need to have a look at that. That's a glitch in the Matrix. Do you want to have a look at last week's? It was obviously a curtailed program. I know you're shaking your head, but tough luck.
Don't worry about it. Move on.
There you go. I beat you by 1, I think it is.
Was that 5-1 on rounds?
So 5-1 on rounds. 2 points. Apologies, the difference there compared to last time out. But, you know.
No one cares.
No one cares, apparently. No one cares.
I don't.
Tell your face. Right, we've got predictions from everyone in the chat for Ipswich. We will come to that shortly. In the meantime, let's deal with the rest of League One. Again, some interesting ties, but probably unlike previous weeks where seemingly we just talked about all the best teams in the league playing each other. Not so much this week. Let's start it off with Accrington v Morecambe. Quality. We're going both for a home win there. No real surprises there.
Accrington back on form, won the last 2, and they got themselves in a bit of trouble, didn't they, after they lost to us, and they were unbeaten, lost to us, and went on a really bad run of form, but they've won their last 2, and Morecambe aren't really pulling up any trees, are they? So I think that'll be fairly comfortable for Accrington.
And Bolton Lincoln feels like an easy one to predict as well, albeit Lincoln, we just don't really know what you're going to expect, do you?
Yeah, but Bolton at the Reebok or whatever it's called these days, 3 on the bounce, I can't see past them.
The Uniball.
But what do I know? Because I lose this feature every single week.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know why I'm even asking for your opinion.
1 week. Isn't 1-1 the most likely outcome of a football match? I think it's been proven as that's the most likely outcome. Yeah, 1 week I might predict 1-1 for every single game, and I might do better than I normally do.
Well, look, I've gone for 2 1-1s in a row there. I've got 3 on my. Yeah, you see, skills in it. Burton Forest Green, we're not excited about this one. You're going for a Burton win. I can understand that one. After Exeter last week, pumped them, didn't they, at home? I've got to worry about Forest Green, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of both said after we went there, we thought they'd be all right this year, didn't we? They'd make I can't think what the stadium's called, make their hippie vegan stadium a kind of a hard place to go and play football. But it's not really worked out for them so far. So yeah, I'm going to go for not a classic. I think I'll go for a very narrow Burton win.
Cambridge derby. Cambridge, I guess, happy with the fact that Mark Bonner has seemingly turned down Rotherham, and albeit they're strong at home, we think Derby,
but they got
tough
pumped,
opposition.
Didn't they? Yeah, they got pumped by Barnsley 3-0 last time out, didn't they? So I don't know what happened there. Sorry. So I think that'll be a tight one. I'm going for a 1-1. Derby inconsistent, but Cambridge did get smashed last time at home. So I'm going
Derby
for
now under Paul Warne in charge though. So
yeah, first game, isn't it? Yeah,
probably it is. Yeah, Charlton Oxford, and again we're both going for a draw. Not excited about that one. Can't really know how to predict Charlton and Oxford, do you? It's tough.
No, I mean Charlton are in not great form, are they? In Oxford, haven't got going at all. So 0-0 was the easy option, I think there.
Cheltenham Shrewsbury, we're split on this one. I quite like Cheltenham at home, but you like Shrewsbury away.
Yeah, and they're 8th. They're doing well in the league. Kind of. I think I tipped them as dark horses at one point in the close season. I don't know if I went public with that, so that might be rubbish. But I kind of thought they'd do okay given the transfer business they did, and I think they'll win that one.
Exeter, Bristol Rovers. This kind of weird local derby with a lot of edge to it. Now we're both backing Exeter. I think I was quite polite about Bristol Rovers after the game against them, and ever since they've been pretty lousy. So I can't really give them any support anymore.
No, they've been doing really, really poorly, haven't they? So that's why I've gone for Exeter. They played okay against us. They tried to play football. We took them apart, and yeah, it's just so far not working out for them.
Are Barnsley the form team in the division right now? We're both predicting an away win at Fleetwood, but Barnsley looking quite good, aren't they now?
Yeah, they've kind of got their stuff going on. They won 3 of the last 5, drawn the other 2, so they've kind of got themselves into a little bit of rhythm since that 2-2 draw really against us, because they were very inconsistent up until that point. They got battered 3-0 the week before, didn't they, by Wickham with a couple of long-range goals and stuff. And since then, they've really settled down. Had that great win away at Sheffield Wednesday, and yeah, Duff's doing a good job there, and they are starting to hit some form. And Mr. Norwood is starting to score, isn't he? He's got 3 now, isn't he, so far this season?
He does, yeah. Here's the big one. We'll come back to ours at the end. MKV Peterborough. We're both predicting narrow away win for Peterborough. Not a controversial thing there, is it? Let's Port Vale, Sheffield Wednesday again. Both going for a 2-0 away win again. Not a huge amount of, it's not out of. What's the word I'm looking at? Bloody hell! I'm a bit ill. Sorry, guys. That's not a crazy prediction, is it? Wickham, Plymouth. You're hopeful, aren't you? I think that's a prediction out of hope rather than that's a heart over head prediction. Sir.
As is my ITFC one. If I was being honest, I think you've nailed that with your 1-1, as did Ray Crawford. I think that is probably what's going to happen. But as always, I'll be the optimist and I will let my heart overrule my head.
Yeah. So you mapped out what happens if Portsmouth score first.
Yeah.
And it kind of descends into a bit of which might work in our favour actually, because if Portsmouth do try and sit on a 1-0 lead, having scored early, away from home, that's kind of like Ipswich at Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday territory, if you ask me. If we get the early goal, how does the game map out from then? Because we have to get a second and maybe a third, don't we?
Yeah, if we get the early goal, I think we would go 2-0. I mean, in my head, we score in the first kind of 15 minutes. We go 2-0 up midway through the second half. We then probably do something a little bit silly and concede relatively quickly and make it a nervy last kind of 10, 15 minutes or so. If that's the way the game panned out tomorrow, that would make perfect sense to me and would kind of be typical of how we've done things so far this season. If they were to score first, I would worry the longer the game goes on, because they will start all the tricks and all the S-housery, and we've got a big crowd there. And I think it might be a bit difficult for us if they turn on those kind of tactics, which they will do if they score first.
Yeah, the crowd's got a role to influence the referee as well, though. That not necessarily works as it this season.
Very much so, and get the ball boys to start throwing the ball back in quickly and stuff. Do all the stuff that we don't generally try and do. I know the ref are under new directions to try and curtail the amount of stoppage and time wasting, but we haven't seen it in reality so far this season. So we need to make sure that we do everything in our power. The crowd needs to be right behind the team. If we do concede early, we've got to roar the guys on and really, really make sure that we don't let it kind of peter away and the atmosphere drops off and off and off. They start the S-housery and they see the game out, because if we were to lose it, like I said earlier, it's not a must win, but I don't think you can afford to lose it given the previous 2 results. Yeah,
there was a bit of chat about that earlier on, which sadly we've run out of time for, but it's not too early to worry, but it's just not getting points against the teams around us.
Exactly. If we lose it, that becomes a narrative again. Yeah, that becomes a narrative again, though, doesn't it? We talk about all our good work against the likes of Forest Green and Bristol Rovers and Accrington, but we're still in the world where we can't beat one of those kind of top sides. I know we've got a decent run coming up with Cambridge and Morecambe, and I know Derby's on the horizon, but Lincoln's in there as well. With the games coming up, you'd expect us to pick up points, but we need to end this narrative of not being able to beat one of the top sides.
Yep. Let's have a look at some of the predictions from the folk in the chat. We've got Charlie's horribly tight 1-0 win, squeaky bum time. I can imagine Charlie, if that's the way, at 89 minutes. Jules, still think we will win 3-1. Love that confidence. Romeo, I think Romeo is one of our Telegram VIPs. Hello to Romeo. Got a feeling it'll be a Desmond 2-2. FPL's also going for a nervy 1-0 like you, Seb. 3-2 says Michael. Town late winner off Freddie's shin. Mullet always the optimist. 4-0 Ladapo hat-trick. And Tyrese John Jules.
I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet against them, if I'm honest, given that they are averaging like 2.1 goals per game and the threat they've got.
We underestimated Plymouth a little bit last week. We need to give some respect to Pompey, don't we? Albeit, here comes a 3-1 from Gary. Here comes a 2-0 from Eric. Lee's going for a 1-0. Solly's going for a 2-0. Here's David. That's what we want, 2-1 defeat. We need to
David,
mix it up. That's what we know. Let's realism. Let's have some balance. That's what we want. Here's Ben. I would love a statement win, 3-0 Town. Realistically, 1-1 though. Yeah, come on. Realism. That's what we want. What else have we got? Mark the Portsmouth bench. Yeah, indeed. Lee, we're no longer a secure side. I mean, yeah, as you said, Seb, just some of this narrative we just need to shift, don't we? And it's amazing. As Barnsley have kind of demonstrated with their inconsistency, you get that result and things turn around, don't you? And wouldn't it be great to start the run of pack-out Portman Road games with a kind of a victory that gives everyone a platform and a confidence to build from. Andreas is going for a 3-0. So, Romeo reminding us of the Thompson versus Cowley antics. K-Mac will rise above it, I'm sure. The calmest man in the ground, apart from Martin Pert, will be Kieran McKenna, I'm sure. Nicely poised, isn't it? If you want any final shout-outs before we say goodbye, now is the time to get them in the chat. We'll be back after this. Thanks everyone who's joined us tonight. Really enjoyed the interactive chat. Always great to have a little bit of a buzz ahead of a big game at Portman Road. Full house, so we're really excited about that one. As we mentioned before, head down to the Greyhound if you're in town for a bit of pre-match. Do get your tickets for the live event. We'd love to see some of you guys face to face rather than on the chat. We know that that's not achievable for everyone. People in different parts of the country, and it's not a great time for money, we know as well. So we appreciate anyone who can join us for that one, and we hope it'll be a really fun evening, and hopefully you get value for money as well. Do get involved in the Telegram group as well, some merch too. But as always, our content goes out free of charge. We'll be back Sunday night, 8 p.m. Ben and the guys talking about Pompey, hopefully a victory. If you are travelling down, if you're listening to us as well, we love hearing from folk who are travelling down and listening to the pod on the game. If you're in the train, the bus, whatever, give us a shout out on Twitter. We'll say hello. We'll retweet anyone who says hello to us whilst they're listening to the pod. And I think that's it. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a pod review. And once again, from me, thank you everyone for watching. Seb, I'll let you have the final words. Take your time because I'll just put some comments up as we go. So Seb, thank you as always for your hard work, and over to you.
Yeah, it's the start of a 3-week game, a 3-game week, isn't it? With Cambridge coming on Tuesday night and then Morecambe coming at the weekend. Pack out Portman Road. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere there tomorrow. I'm gutted I can't be there, but for everyone that's going, have an absolutely great time. Keep the faith. We'll score early. I think we're going to win 2-1. The monkey will then be off our backs with this top 6 narrative, and we will, set ourselves up for a brilliant week and hopefully a perfect 9 out of 9 coming this week. Come on, you Blues.